There have been many requests showing binding being put on at the quilting frame. People have heard that you can do that and wondered how it's accomplished. So right now I have a small placemat on my frame and I've got my binding ready. Now the binding I've cut larger than what I normally do because my seam allowance is going to be a little different at the quilting frame than what it would be normally at my sewing machine. I've also used the 45-degree angle to sew my binding together. I've pressed it, and I've used Best Press to make a nice clean press with a nice edge here. I found the center of my binding. I've placed it at the center of my little placemat here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this ready to lay smooth across here. I want to make sure that I have no seams landing in my corners. So when I check this, I can see that my seams are not going to land in my corners. That's really important because I don't want to have all that bulk in the corners. I'm going to place the foot with the needle in the center of the binding. I'm going to turn on my channel locks on my machine. Now I have horizontal channel locks, which will go forward and backward, and I have vertical locks, which will go right to left. I'm going to use the vertical lock on the machine. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my bobbin thread. That's always a best practice, is to pull up the bobbin thread. So needle up, pull up the bobbin thread, and I'm ready to go. I also have one more tool that I would like, and this is one of my rulers. This specific tool is the mini straight line tool. It has a 45-degree angle here, straight line, and curve. The other rulers that I like are the 4-in-1 and a straight line ruler. So now I'm ready to go. I'm lining up my binding with the straight line that I made with my channel locks earlier when I was placing my design within that space. So I want to make sure that my foot, the back of my foot, is at the edge of my binding so that when I go across, I can see that I'm lining everything up to where it needs to be. I'm going to sew all the way across. Now I'm going to get a fabric pen and I'm going to mark my 45-degree angle in that corner. I like using my white marking pen because I can see it. So I have my 45-degree mark. I'm going to continue sewing and stop at that mark. I'd like my needle in the down position. So now my needle is down, and now I'm going to unlock the channel locks, take my ruler, and lay the 45-degree angle and stitch it down. Then I'm going to pull up the bobbin thread. Slide the machine away, bring it back, and there's the bobbin thread, and I can just clip that. There's no need to knot it. Now we're going to go the other direction. So I'm going to go back where we started, pull the bobbin thread up, place the needle down, put the channel lock on, and now I'm going to go left. I'm going to hold the binding as I'm going to place it where it needs to be. When I get close to the corner, I'm going to take that same 45-degree angle, turn it the opposite direction as what I was going on the other side, and mark. I'm going to go until my needle hits that line. Stop, and I'm going to put my needle in the up position again. Down position, excuse me. Now I'm going to unlock the vertical lock, place my ruler back down, and stitch off in that 45-degree angle. Pull the bobbin thread up, cut it. Again, no need to lock or knot. The next step is we're going to make that 45-degree angle. So I turn the fabric on the 45-degree angle. I finger press it, or I use what's called a, it's a little hand iron that I like to use. But right now I'm just going to finger press it, fold it back down so that the top of the binding, that fold, is with the raw edge of the binding here. Okay? Now I'm going to place my needle back down in that same position, meaning the edge of the foot, the raw edge of the binding is with the edge of the foot. I need to put my needle in the down position. I'm going to do the horizontal lock now, and I'm going to stitch down. Stop before I get to the corner and do our 45-degree angle. That angle is at a position of where my seam allowance is. So I'm still in my horizontal lock, stop, needle down, and continue. Unlock the horizontal lock and sew off in my 45-degree angle. Pull the bobbin thread up and cut it. I'm going to do the same thing to the left-hand corner. So we're going to fold this on a 45-degree angle, the same angle that our stitching line was. Line up the folded edge with the raw edge of the binding. Place my foot so that the foot is right on the edge of the binding. Horizontal lock and needle down. I'm going to stitch and hold the binding as I go. I tend to have a finger under the binding and fingers on top, helping me to keep it straight. When I get close to the corner, I'm going to pause and draw the line. Here's my ruler. I'm going to lay the straight of the ruler on my straight line. I know where that corner is. Draw my line. Stop. Put the needle down. Lay the ruler down. Unlock the horizontal lock. And stitch off. Again, pulling the bobbin thread to the top. Fold on the 45-degree angle, the fold of the binding. Fold and raw edge meet. Bring the machine so that the foot is in the right position. Put the needle down. It's not quite where I want it to be, so I can adjust that by just bringing the needle up and putting it back down again. Vertical lock. And then we're going to do the same thing to the right-hand side. When we flip this over, our binding is ready. Let me move the machine out of the way just so you can see. And we can either top stitch it down with our sewing machine or hand stitch it. I'm a person that does a top stitch, and what a beautiful binding that would be. Happy quilting!